All right, so we're going to continue the study of the two-way frequency table, but what we're going to do is make sure that we understand how do we fill in the missing parts. And so the homework tonight is you're going to see some partial charts, and your job is to fill in the charts completely and then answer questions. So that's what we're doing on the guided practice and also on the independent practice. You're going to do a little bit more in the question answering than just the chart part. Okay, so let's just do one example. So we don't have really a new objective today. We're continuing to talk about two-way frequency tables. Tomorrow we'll get a little bit more into the number crunching things. So an example, this comes from example 2. And this is out of the lesson 12.1, so out of the module 12, lesson 1. And it talks about 100 students were surveyed which beverage they chose at lunch. Now, what's interesting is it doesn't say what students they're talking about. They don't give a grade level. They don't give any information. It says the results are shown in the two-way frequency table below, and then fill in the missing information. Now, honestly, a lot of the questions that you're being asked are very superficial, but basically what we're going to kind of get into is not only totals, which your questions last night seemed to focus in on the totals, like what was the most preferred ice cream flavor, what was the least preferred ice cream flavor. They're going to have you start looking at boys versus girls and looking for trends. And so that's what's going to come up in our next section. Not this particular section, but the next one. So we have girls, boys, and then we have total. That total column is going to really come into play. And then we have 3 types of drinks. We have juice. We have milk. We have water. And we have total. And then we need to give this a title, and this would be lunch beverage. Okay. And how many people did I say were going to be in this survey? Wow. See, this might be part of the problem. When we don't listen, then we don't follow. Luke, you remember? I said 100. So where would that 100 go in this chart? Where would that go? Chris?
The bottom right corner.
Okay, and it's going to go right here. So reading the directions are going to become vitally important because it's going to help us figure out a key value. So in the problem, we are told in our survey that there were 10 girls that preferred juice and 17 that preferred water. With the boys, we had 15 that preferred juice, 24 that preferred milk, and 21 that preferred water, for a grand total of 60 students. So this is all the information that's given to you. Alex, you're supposed to be copying this down, please. Yeah, this is your notes, so you got to copy this down. So again, I'll add one more piece of information since many of you weren't listening. "100 students surveyed." Hence the 100 in the corner. Okay. Now, in order for us to answer any questions, we need to fill in all the rest of the blanks. So raise your hand if you have a blank you can fill in and tell me how you fill it in. Okay, Chloe.
10 plus 15 is 25.
Okay, so what blank am I filling in?
The total under juice.
Okay, total under juice. We have the girls' total and the boys' total, so we get a grand total of 25 students chose juice. Okay? Justin, what's another one you can fill in?
40 on the top right. Random total.
So what does that 40 represent?
40 girls plus 60 boys equals 100 total.
So we had a total of 40 girls that were in the survey. Ooh, do you see something in the survey right now that happened in one we talked about yesterday? What do you see going on, Johnny Ray?
They're not equal. They didn't try to get the same amount of guys.
Yeah, we have an imbalance between how many girls were surveyed versus how many boys. So that may kind of, what the word is called, skew our data. Okay, what's another number that we could fill in this chart and explain to me what that number is and how you got it? Bastian?
The total underwater, 17 plus 21 is 38.
Okay, so under the total for water, it would be 38 because we know how many girls voted for it and how many boys voted for it. All right. Okay, what else can we do now? This is where it gets a little bit more dicey. Maggie?
Add 13 to milk for girls, because if you add them all up, it equals 40.
So 13 for milk for girls, because 10 plus 13 plus 17 equals 40. Okay, and then Tristan M?
37 at the total under milk.
So 37 under milk. Okay? Now that we've filled this in completely, that's when we can start answering questions. We couldn't answer questions before because we didn't have all our information. So questions might be, which lunch beverage is the least preferred?
Juice. We're doing PJJ pictures.
All right, so let's finish up. So the lunch beverage that is least preferred. Oops, maybe if I could spell today. And then, how do you know? So, which lunch beverage would be the least preferred, and how would you know? Okay, Serena.
Juice.
Okay, and why would you say juice? How do you know it's the least? Somebody's phone again? Juice is least, he's like arguing out of his pocket. Juice is least preferred because it received the least amount of total votes. So total meaning boys and girls together. All right? So let's talk about, this is just a discussion we'll have. They're probably not going to ask you yet, this again coming up in a subsequent lesson. But looking at this chart, we had 20 more boys that were part of this survey. Do you think the way that those 20 boys voted could have swayed the answer being juice being the least popular? Or do you think it could have swayed water being the most preferred drink? What do you think about that? Brian?
Well, we kind of took some off, like, it'll take, like, bits off of each part of the chart. Like, maybe some of the juice will come out, some of the milk, some of the water, maybe all the water. We don't know that.
Right. It's hard to know exactly how much would come out because we don't know how they're 20. But let's just say that we took off as equal an amount as possible for each of them. So if we took 6 off of the juice, 6 off of the milk, 6 off of the water, would we still have water being the most preferred and milk being the second most preferred and juice being the least preferred? I think we can agree juice is going to be the least. Okay? Now, this must not be an elementary campus because I would be thinking they would be all over the juice thing if they had their choice. Okay? My daughter, it's like juice is like, I don't know what to her. It's like liquid gold all of a sudden. And she's hated juice her entire life. And then all of a sudden, it has become the end all. I'm going to find it wherever I can. She goes to the neighbor's house and asks for juice because I don't buy it. And I'm just like, and my neighbor's so nice that she gets it all the time. But if we took 6 away from the boys and milk and 6 away from the boys and water, would we still have water being the most preferred? So if we took away 6 from water on the boys, that would give us 15, and 15 and 17 would give us a 32. So let me just kind of put that here. And then if we took away 8 or 6 from the milk in boys, that would give us, what, 18? And then that would give us, oh, look at that. It would be so neck and neck, okay? Now, do you feel that there's a strong preference of what they drink at lunch?
No.
And the answer is no, it's pretty tied between milk and water. Okay, pretty tied between milk and water. Now, what they omitted on the milk was the word chocolate. Because I don't think most of you guys prefer milk. Okay, you prefer chocolate milk is kind of, that's the other one for my daughter, liquid gold right there. Can we have chocolate? I finally went to Ovaltine because at least there's some protein in that, right? All right, so that's what you guys are going to practice on your homework tonight.